Hey, what's going on everyone? I hope you're doing well. So let's talk a little bit about The Medium. I haven't finished the game yet, so this isn't a review, but I am about halfway through it now, and I just feel like talking about how I'm feeling about it so far. So The Medium is a psychological horror game from Bloober Team, who also developed the Blair Witch game in 2019, and also Layers of Fear and other games before that, and they're continuing their recent trend of horror games with this one. The game follows a character named Marianne, who is a medium that can simultaneously exist in the real world and also in this other world or spirit realm, and this game is played in the third person the entire time. And that actually ended up being my favorite aspect of it so far, but I do get the feeling that it won't be everybody's cup of tea right away. I just thought it really had a cool effect on the camera work as you would walk to certain parts of the map and it would change perspectives, and at first I did think it was a little too much and maybe a bit distracting, but I got used to it really quickly and it really did actually become my favorite thing about the game, like I said, especially because it gives such a cinematic look to everything going on. It does slow down the movement of the character a lot, and it can feel kind of strange to like change directions, almost as if the controls are inverted, but just like with the recent games from supermassive games like Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures series, it gives the gameplay and the general feeling from the surroundings a different element that you don't get all the time in most games. But the big thing about this game that made it so interesting from the initial announcement were the simultaneous worlds. In the early footage and trailers, it showed us that concept that this game would have moments where the world in the game split in two and you would actually get to play them simultaneously. And the ability to even do that in the way that they wanted to only happened recently with this current generation of consoles. And this is actually where it gets a little tricky to critique this game. Obviously, again, I haven't played it all yet, so my opinion could change by the end of it, but so far, I would say that it's definitely not lived up to all of the hype. At least in terms of the gameplay itself, it hasn't. Because visually, this game is stunning, and the simultaneous worlds, the parts where you get to play in both of them, highlight that so much, especially in the spirit world where those really vibrant and warm orange tones really stand out. I think I would actually prefer if more of the game was fully in that spirit world, and there have been times that it is, but not nearly enough. And that's where I think this gets a little bit tough, because while I do really like their idea for that split screen gameplay and going full in on the third person perspective, I do feel like those ideas ended up being a lot better on paper than it ended up being in the game. The split screen often felt like it was taking away from the overall enjoyment of everything because I wasn't able to focus in on either of the worlds as much as I wanted to, and they also didn't really have much to offer to make that feel worthwhile. There are some cool puzzle elements that are used for it, and you have to navigate your way through the two worlds, which is kind of interesting too because there are pathways blocked off in one world or the other one, so you have to find a way that works in both. And I'm sure that there will be some parts of the game later on that make use of that in a really cool way, but so far it's just a bit stale, and the game itself with the narrative surrounding all of this is also a bit stale. And that's really where I'm feeling the most let down so far, with the story and the characters. The narrative has been moving at such a slow pace already, and the fact that it isn't very interesting or gripping so far just makes everything a bit harder to digest. I do think there's some cool things going on in the spirit realm though, and the character of Sadness immediately gave a spark to this game because there was finally someone that I cared to find out more about. But aside from that, there's not too much else that has really grabbed my attention. I am invested enough to finish out the rest of the game though. I don't believe it's very long, maybe around 8 to 10 hours or so I should be able to finish it pretty soon. And I do have hope that it will have a stronger second half and hopefully even introduce some things that will make the gameplay more enjoyable. And it's not entirely fair to compare these two either since I did complete Blair Witch, but if I had to say right now which one I've been enjoying more, it would probably be Blair Witch, but not by much because I didn't exactly love that game either. But I did think that game did a really good job of putting you in this very creepy environment and making it feel creepy and scary, like there was danger all around, and it worked well as a standard first-person horror game. But that being said, I do think this game can easily jump over that one in the second half because there are moments already in this game that I think I will remember more than any of them in Blair Witch. I did enjoy playing that game at the time, but most of it was pretty forgettable, and I don't think that's going to be the case here. If anything, I think I'll just be more upset or disappointed with this one because it has some huge potential to be a great game, and so far it's just not quite reaching that level, which is a shame. But I'll never say no to a new horror game, and especially one that was willing to take on a challenge like this and try something somewhat new, at least in the technological aspect of it, and I applaud them for that. I think if anything is taken from this game, and I guess even maybe literally, it will be the ideas that they presented, and maybe even they themselves will come back with another game and try something like it again, but also from other developers who might get some interesting ideas for a game that takes place in simultaneous worlds as well, and who knows, maybe we get a game that does something we've never seen before because of this, and that's what's really great about making games with these kinds of innovative ideas. It's always better to try and come up short than to never try at all, and especially in an ever-evolving world like ours, but also like I said before, maybe the second half of this game will make me regret saying any of this in the first place, and they will do something special that I'm not expecting. But that's all for this one. Thank you so much for watching this. I don't know how necessary this video even was because this isn't a super long game, so it will probably only take a few more days or so to finish it, and I could have done a full proper review then, but I just felt like talking about it today, and that was just my thoughts on it so far. I did also have some issues with it performance-wise, like I felt like it was stuttering a lot and a lot of frame drops, and I considered talking about that more in this video because I've been having that problem actually with a lot of other games on the Series X, but I'm still trying to figure out if that's on my end or if it's like a full, Series X thing. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing a lot of that online, so I'm kind of confused about it, but I'll see what that's about because I'm still kind of, I'm not sure. It feels like a lot of the games I'm playing on Series X just aren't playing well, and I hope that's, I actually do hope it's just on my end, so it's not like a full systemic issue, and I'm sure it is because nobody's talking about it really, so I'm sure, that's not going to be a big deal going forward. I'll try to figure that out on my end. But yeah, aside from that, I'd love to talk to you about this game if you already played it or are playing it right now or have plans to later on. There's not a ton of releases coming out, so I think a lot of people were excited for this one, especially if you were able to get your hands on a Series X. Little Nightmares 2 is actually coming out, I think tomorrow now, so that should be an exciting one to talk about too. And yeah, I hope you're all doing well out there and staying safe and staying healthy. Thank you again for watching this. I hope to catch you on the next one, and until then, take care everybody.